What's up, folks? It's your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're going to be doing the Raw recap. We started off with a video package of Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns and their lead up to Extreme Rules. Roman Reigns walks out to the ring. He has a brief encounter with Bobby Lashley, who dares him to call him out. Roman Reigns gets into the ring and immediately calls out Bobby Lashley. Before anything happens, Kurt Angle comes out and puts the kibosh on them fighting. But sure as shit, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley start fighting anyways. The Raw locker room empties out to split up the two, like we haven't seen all this happen once before. Then we spend the next 5 minutes with Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns fighting, getting split up, fighting, splitting up. Seems to be a reoccurring thing with most of Roman Reigns' feuds. We then go to our first match, Nia Jax and Natalya versus Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Almost like the same thing we saw last week. This is an okay match. Nia Jax won it with a gorilla press and a leg drop on Mickie James for the pin. After the match, Alexa Bliss attacks Nia Jax with a kendo stick. After hitting her a few times, Nia Jax grabs it and Alexa Bliss runs off. We then have a Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman recap, after which backstage Kevin Owens camps out in Kurt Angle's office. We then have Mojo Rawley versus No Way Jose. We're finally going to have this match. Unfortunately, with the past 3 weeks before, with all this going back and forth, kind of lost interest and I really don't care. Mojo Rawley did win the match, however, but like I said, I've lost all interest here. We then have more Sasha Banks and Bayley counseling bullshit. What? I don't care. We then have Seth Rollins coming out and he cuts a promo about the Iron Man match at Extreme Rules. Then Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre come out and they run down Seth Rollins. After a verbal back and forth, Seth Rollins starts to sow the seeds of deception between Ziggler and McIntyre, which leads on to a match later tonight with Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. If Seth Rollins wins, Drew McIntyre is barred from ringside at Extreme Rules. We then have Bo Dallas versus Matt Hardy. After a very lengthy promo between the B team and the Deleter of Worlds, the Deleter of Worlds teleports into the ring and we have our match. It was an okay match, pretty much the same as the last 2-3 weeks or so that Matt Hardy has had. Bo Dallas got a draping neckbreaker on Matt Hardy for the pin. After the match, the Leader of Worlds beat down on the B team. After all this, we start wasting some more time with a recap of Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns, going back to Sasha Banks and Bayley again. We're killing time way too much right now. We then have Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan. Jonathan Coachman nailed it on the head when he mentioned this match going a couple times over in the past few weeks. And it is. It's repetitive. They've faced each other, I think, 3 times already. Anyways, Ember Moon won. We then have Baron Corbin and Elias versus Finn Balor and Bobby Roode. We start off with Elias in the ring, wasting time. Then Baron Corbin comes out and wastes more time. Finally, Finn Balor and Bobby Roode come out and we actually have our match, which was pretty decent. But it seems like with all the promos that are going on, WWE is continuing the Big Cass and Daniel Bryan I'm bigger and I'm better storyline with Finn Balor and Baron Corbin, which just went surprisingly well. Anyways, Baron Corbin got the end of days on Bobby Roode for the pin. Like I said, this was a decent match. We then come to our main event, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Once again, if McIntyre loses, he is banned from ringside at the Extreme Rules Iron Man match. This was a really good main event. I liked it. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of action. There were some spots where it could have gone either way. Dolph Ziggler did get his nose into it and ended up eating a curb stomp from Seth Rollins. This distraction, however, gave Drew McIntyre enough time to get the Claymore for the pin. After the match, Drew McIntyre carries Dolph Ziggler up the ramp. Seth Rollins is sitting in the ring. And we close tonight's Raw. If I could sum up pretty much most of tonight's Raw in one word, repetitive. Most of these matches we have seen for the past 3 or 4 weeks in some combination or another. If it wasn't for the last 2 matches, I would actually say tonight's Raw sucked. The 2 matches at the end kind of pulled it out for the show, but as a whole I would say it probably would be an average Raw. And as I usually say, hopefully SmackDown will actually do a lot better tomorrow night. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back tomorrow for the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below if you saw tonight's Raw, what you thought about it, what you thought of this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.